What's up, guys? Welcome to the ride. I guess it's becoming a bit of a thing now. I just like talking while I'm on the go. But I'm on my way to pick up some YONEX Percepts right now. Precepts? Percept? Perceptive, I think is probably the word that it's based off of. This is the replacement for the VCORE Pros. What do you guys think of the name? I'll tell you what I think of the idea of the name. I think it's a good idea to probably separate the VCORE and the VCORE Pro line more. It makes those rackets sound a little bit too alike. And you know, it's not to say that they don't have some similarities, they definitely do, but the VCORE and the VCORE Pro, I would say, cater to very different players. So it's a little bit misleading to call one the VCORE Pro and another one the VCORE. You know what's funny too is that YONEX, instead of introducing another line of rackets, they're eliminating one and replacing it with this. I mean, these are essentially VCORE Pros, so I don't know. It's not really like they're taking a line out, they're just updating the name and updating the rackets a little bit. They do have an 18x19, which is exciting. I like that string combination more these days. Just the idea of it, of having two extra mains and the density that comes from it, the string bed durability, you guys, you know I get excited about that. So this video will be about my first impressions of the racket. And then my next video on these rackets will probably be my official review. And to put these rackets into perspective a little bit, I will be comparing them to the Pure Aero 98. But I will most likely also talk about some other rackets, especially the VCORE and the E-Zones, as well as the VCORE Pros, right? That's where these are coming from. And gosh darn it, I might as well compare it a little bit to the Regna, some of whom insist it is pronounced Regna, as in person who reigns or reigner, like a king. I believe that's what the word is actually based off of. Anyway, I actually don't know which of the VCORE, or gosh, the Percepts I have today, but I think I'll be taking two demos. And hopefully one of them is that 18x19. Let's find out. Oh yeah, we got, oh, do you hear him? Let him clang around a little bit. We got the 97 Percept and the 100, what is it? D, which is their 18x19 string pattern. That's very cool. I'm glad that they put that on their 100 because that opens it up a little bit, maybe a little more power, and the beam is a little bit thicker. So again, a little bit more power and a little bit more stiffness. The stiffness was actually something I wanted more of from the VCORE series. I felt like at some point it just felt like marshmallows when I hit the tennis ball, to the point that so much of my power just felt like it was being swallowed and it was gone forever. But it was harder with this racket to overhit the ball. The VCORE Pro, I should say, not this one. I haven't hit with this yet. What do I know? What do I know? So if I had to use a VCORE Pro, I feel like the one that's best for my tennis, I don't know, you guys. They're all so conflicting for me. I like more things about the 97, but I feel like it punishes me too much, and the 100 still feels too much like a VCORE, but it was a little bit more rigid. Again, it's such a mushy racket, those VCOREs, but some people like that, and a lot of people still hit really hard with them. I just felt like, I mean, it does cost more power regardless of who you are. So I hope that there's a little bit more power on these rackets. I don't want them not to be what they're supposed to be, but I just felt like they're a little bit too far in that direction. So we'll see. I am on my way to the club right now. All right, we have two YONEX Percepts, and two Pure Aero 98s. These rackets are the same. These are two different models, but I'm going to start with the racket I know, just to remind myself how it feels. All right, we're relatively dialed in. I'll start with the 100D, actually. Definitely a lower launch angle, actually less soft feeling than I thought it would be. Let's try the 97. It already feels softer just doing this. All right, this one's definitely softer. It feels very VCORE Pro-like, but a little stiffer. I'm gonna rip some with the 97 just to compare how its stiffness feels to the 100D. So 97 first. Let's pick a different angle and different racket, just so you can see that these are going in mostly. Same idea, I'm just gonna kill some forehands and see how the stiffness compares. I think the launch angle on this one is definitely lower, but maybe a little bit better directional control. Definitely lower launch angle, less spin, but it is stiffer. I feel it flex and bend less. It actually feels less like a VCORE than I might have expected, or VCORE Pro, I should say. Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna do the same with my Pure Aero 98s and see what differences I notice. Let's see how it compares in terms of stiffness and spin and power. So way more spin, obviously. Yeah, the other ones just can't hit like that. Yeah, like that still goes in, that's crazy. What if I try to flatten it out a bit though? Okay, those are some good first impressions. So the 100D is definitely a little stiffer and it has a lower launch angle. The VCORE, geez, the Percept 97 feels a lot like the VCORE Pro 97, but maybe a little stiffer. So I think I'd pick this 97 over the last one. Yeah, I'm not saying any of these rackets are really my style. I appreciate the comfort and the control they offer, but it's a pretty big trade-off in the direction of control, with a certain degree of power and top spin access being sacrificed for that. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to hitting with my Pure Aero 98s, but I'll have more to say in a future video. Those are my first impressions. If you guys have questions, let me know. I'll get to know these rackets a bit better. Oh yeah, I was gonna compare them to the E-Zone and the VCORE and the VCORE Pro a little bit, right? I think the fact that I already referenced these and how they are different from the last generation VCORE Pros puts a lot of that into perspective already. I can elaborate a bit more. I guess these don't feel quite like an E-Zone or quite like a VCORE. I think the most VCORE feeling one is probably the 100D, just because it's notably stiffer. I was actually thinking it would be more spin friendly than it is. It's surprisingly not that spin friendly. Even with really exaggerated strokes to maximize top spin, it just feels okay. But this one drives and slaps through the ball pretty well, and it is also quite comfortable while you do that. So that's interesting. I'm seeing if there's any noticeable crooked crosses on here. It's actually not so bad. Maybe the grommets are a little bit smaller than they used to be. There's still somewhat of a gap, but it's not as obvious as it was. Oh, you know what? The grommet holes are quite a bit smaller on the 100D than they are on the VCORE. Oh my gosh, on the Percept 97. I don't know how many times I'm gonna keep messing that up. Yeah, definitely a big difference in the grommet hole size. I'll show you real quick. So it's a little bit hard to get this kind of thing on camera, but it's pretty obvious if you look at it from the back how much bigger the hole is on this racket on the right than it is on the one on the left. And the one on the right is the 97. So pretty big difference. Honestly, it looks almost twice as big, doesn't it? Look at that. If we look at it from this side, yeah, you can see it. It seems like another string could fit in there, like a whole other string. Whereas on this one, it's more snug. Yeah, maybe about half as much of a gap. All right, so that's all I gotta say for now. I'll say one more thing. I think the ball machine is really underrated for getting of the repetition. I have some really, really nice pressureless balls in here. Honestly, I think a lot of people, I could switch these out for regular tennis balls, and most people would not notice the difference. They're really, really good, and they're that good for months. It's a tennis ball made by Spin Shot. It's a really convincing ball, and just being able to hit the same shot over and over and over again, I can really feel all the little differences from that racket on the same shot. So there is a lot of value in being able to hit with that kind of repetition. And in my experience so far, my impressions that I've developed on my ball machine before actually hitting with someone in the real world have been accurate, very, very accurate. And it actually turns out more often that an impression I develop just from hitting with somebody leaves quite a few things to be discovered on the machine. So in some ways, the machine is actually a little bit better at getting to know a racket than hitting with a regular person, because a regular person, every ball is so different. And so much of what you have to do involves like running around and jumping around and switching your grip and doing a backhand or a forehand or maybe a slice. It's so reactionary, which is obviously the other side of it. So you have to know your racket in that context. But if you just want to talk about how the racket feels and exactly what it does on each shot, I think the machine is really, really good at developing an impression for that. So I hope you guys appreciate my perspective from the ball machine, because I actually think it's really, really valuable. All right, if you guys want to buy me a coffee, or you guys want to buy some of my strings, Toraline, Restring Zero, all those affiliate links and direct channels to support me are in the link in the description. Check that out, subscribe, and I will see you guys in a future video. Thanks for watching. And let me know whatever questions you got about these rackets. All right.